Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rounding the Bases podcast with Coach Coons and Coach Porter on I would say it's a brisk here in Alabama tonight a little bit, but brisk night on November 24th. I guess we can't complain too much. It's I noticed in the weather map, you guys were getting a little snow up there. I saw the Cleveland Browns game Thursday night, and it was almost a whiteout. So
almost a whiteout. Yeah,
but
we were getting some snow on
that's it.
Thursday. Yeah,
Good time to get with your hitting coaches and get to the gym and work out because it's a lot warmer inside right now. But tonight we had an interesting talk beforehand here. You had why don't you tell them about it? What you thought?
yeah. Had a really interesting message this afternoon from a player we're working with who's going on a visit tomorrow and was trying to prepare for the visit. His visit's tomorrow. He's a high school senior and sent me an interesting message this afternoon. Said, "Hey, Coach Porter, can you give me a list of questions to ask tomorrow?" And and obviously that's part of the package and part of the things that we do to help prepare you for your visit. First and foremost, I told this young man that you're the consumer. Okay, you're the consumer. This is not a power four athlete. This is not a somebody that's in the draft conversation. A smaller school player, and there's a lot of different things that go into a smaller school, a D3, a JUCO, an NAIA, a D2. A lot of different things go into that, and that maybe not a Division I athlete would go through. And a couple of those things right off the top of my mind are, being at a college or a university that is enrollment driven, meaning that there's 60, 70, 80, 100 kids in some JUCOs on the roster.
Right.
The cost of tuition, something to make sure moms and dads that you understand is that higher education is in a different spot than it was maybe 10 years ago. We
And,
see
and,
school.
and roster size is changing now too.
Yeah.
There's no more COVID rule. There's no more this rule, that rule. Roster sizes are coming down. I mean, that's why baseball or softball you see even on the X now decommitted because circumstances have changed. Yeah, because they're going from 40 guys to whatever the number is, 30, 32, 30, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
In softball, the number used to be here. Now it's down here. So, things are changing for this whole thing.
Yeah, they definitely are. And remember, at the end of the day, you're the consumer. Okay? You're going to go there, you're going to get an education and all the things that go with it, the experience, the friendships and all that stuff. So I think it's really important to be prepared. This young man reached out and said, "Coach, can you give me some questions?" And I sent him back about 20 questions. And this is one of the things that we're going to help you with. And we're going to help you with. And while we're on this topic, sign up, get a hold of us for a free consultation. We're getting into the holidays. A great Christmas gift and a great start to the new year is one of our crazy affordable packages. To get off on the right foot in recruiting, we'll give you a free consultation. You can pick our brains before you pick something if you decide to go with this at all. Okay, but we're creating a relationship, and we would try to figure out if this is a good fit for both of us, so that we can help you. Okay.
Right.
So back to the question. So I sent him back about 20 questions, and I think he was kind of surprised with all the questions. I broke them into three categories. Okay, academics, financial aid, and of course athletics. Okay. Now I put the housing and under the academic portion. I put clubs and different activities, underneath the financial aid, because the fees involved in that type of stuff. So I kind of, so we don't have 15 different categories, kind of put them all the same. And once again, reminding him he's the consumer. Ask questions. Now, put a couple trick questions in there for the coaching staff. And I even told him. I said, here's a trick question. Have you talked to my high school or summer coach? Okay. I think that's important.
Right. Oh yeah.
And that's going to tell you right off the bat if this staff is doing their homework on you. Okay. I never offered a player without talking to coaches. Sure, you're out in the field and you're able to have contact with the kid, and you're like, look, I want to have a conversation with your coach and or coaches. But hey, look, if everything works out, I'm going to throw you this amount of money. Of course.
And a coach has got, if they're doing their homework, they're going to gather as much information on you as they can, whether it's baseball, softball, personality, whatever.
Especially in today's age with social media,
Right.
the different things that go with that, the character. Coaches don't want to deal with bad character. Are there times coaches take a chance on kids and mold young men or young women? Absolutely. But by and large, coaches don't want to deal with problems. They want to develop young men, young women, and win
Right.
ball games. And they have their own. Most of them have their own families of their own. Okay, so that's important. So the list, and I won't go through every single question, but right off the top, academics. Um, Make sure you set up a meeting with an academic advisor. Question number one: do you have my academic major? Very rarely in 20 years of
Right.
college baseball, all at the Division II level, did player work out for me in our program when we didn't have their academic major. It's flattering that a player wants to come and play for a coach.
Right. Right.
But when he's going, yeah, I'll go ahead and switch majors from physical therapy to business management. You're looking at him going, that's not even close to what you wanted to do. Well, can I do phys ed? No, no, no. Because what happens is after about a year, the player realizes I'm probably not going to play pro ball.
Right.
The chances are very slim. I don't want to be a businessman. It happens all the time, and then all of a sudden the player. So I think earlier in my coaching career, I went ahead and probably did athletes a disservice by saying, yeah, try that out. Or you'll hear this from coaches. You're not going to get into your major until your second or third year
Right.
because of your requirements. That's not necessarily true
Yep.
because majors are becoming more dynamic now. Maybe when I played in college, that was the case. It isn't now. It is, it really isn't, especially when high school kids are taking college classes.
Well, and the other thing too, I think the talking to your advisor is extremely important because I remember recruiting, looking at kids and saying, "You have your math out of the way. Do you have your foreign language out?" Oh no, you have a guidance counselor. They should know these rules. If not, they could call us as well. But
Yeah,
you have to have a certain core area to be even recruitable.
the eligibility center.
Correct.
JUCOs, it's changed too, with the number of progress towards degree courses that you have to have every semester. Because there is a pathway if you don't get your associate's degree, but the associate's degree is your golden ticket.
Correct.
If you're a JUCO. So anyway, so first and foremost, do you have my major? Second thing, can I meet with an advisor? Now, after school, can I meet with somebody from the department? Number three, can you talk to me about a curricular map? What classes I'm taking, when? Are all those classes offered on campus? Here's what happens in a lot of small schools and even some medium-sized schools. All of a sudden, you're taking an online class through another university to meet the requirement at this university or college. To me, sometimes that's problematic. You're not getting the experience. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but you know, we sent a kid, somewhere, and next thing you know, second semester, he's got all, he's a freshman in college and has all online classes. That's is that what we're trying? You know what I mean? Is that what we're trying to accomplish?
It's not
Especially,
giving you full experience.
it's not. It's not. There's social things, and I know the world's changed since COVID. And a lot of people work from home, and that's great. But you go away to school to get that experience, right? To learn and stuff. You know, so can I see a curricular map? Can I talk to the advisor? Can we break down when I'm going to take these courses and how from the academic end? And I think those are very, very important. Then from the financial aid end, I think it's important. You got to be able to pay for school. Hey, look, you still got to be able to pay for school at the JUCO, NAI, D2, D3 level, right? I mean, and mostly at the D1 too, because even though the scholarship allotments changed at Division One, that doesn't mean, of course, the Power Four is absolutely, but that doesn't mean every school in whatever conference is going to do that.
Right.
Okay. All right. So from a financial aid standpoint, what does the school cost? You would be very surprised how many recruits I've run into, and I said, "How much are you going to pay? How much does the school cost?" Universities, colleges have a unique way to package things. Okay, coaches, you know, you want to make sure you get the whole package. So, how much does it cost? Tuition, fees, room, board, books. Tuition. How many hours is that? Is that just 12 hours? Is that 15? Is that 16? Is that unlimited?
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. Fees. So I may pay $20,000 a year, which is not uncommon, but all of a sudden I get hammered with $2,500 in fees every semester. What else? What are the fees? How much do you estimate my books are going to cost? Okay. Or technology fees instead of books, okay, today. And then room and board.
Right.
How much is it going to cost me to eat, and how much is it going to cost me to live? And where am I going to live, and where am I going to eat? And how many meals is that a week? How many meals is that a day?
And
How about roommate?
as coaches, I wouldn't be offended by those questions either. That's great questions. That means you put some thought into this process.
If you're going to be prepared for a college visit like this, you're going to be prepared for a game. When
Right.
we go over a scouting report or you're whatever, you're going to be prepared for a game. Being detailed is what we want. We're going to help you be detailed. Okay.
Correct.
As a play now, are there some questions that I think you avoid? Yeah, but at the end of the day, if someone's going to expect you to pay $15,000 a year to go to school, you can. I'm an open book. As a recruiter, I was an open book, and I would let parents know, look, we'll talk about this all day long. Understand, we're not going to talk about your son's playing time, but we'll
That's
talk
right.
about this all day long. So from financial aid standpoint, how much is that going to cost? What are some institutional grants? What are some institutional grants that I can have, both academically and private scholarships or endowment type of scholarships? Okay. The other thing is, how will my FAFSA be used? Okay. Well, I think people have this, well, he's going to get FAFSA. Well, what does that mean? All it means is, guys, Pell Grant's not going to cover most colleges and universities' tuition fees, room and board, right? So everything else from the FAFSA is loans. I don't think
Right.
people understand that. I sat across from a parent on my high school team a few weeks ago, and I said, you realize the amount of free money you get from turning in your FAFSA isn't what you think it is. Okay.
Correct.
It really isn't. And the other thing is this, if I get institutional scholarships, am I allowed to keep my Pell Grant? Some schools, as a requirement in financial aid, will have you sign away their Pell Grant if you're not using it, which I think a student should be able to use that. To me, that's a red flag with the college university because typically that means the university or the college has some financial issues because they're keeping federal money that's earmarked for the kid. I know this from experience because I coached at a school that closed. So when I talk about some of these questions being specific, the last couple years, the red flags didn't, they popped up, but not till the end. Like, why aren't we letting kids keep their FAFSA or keep their Pell Grant? It's their money, it's our money. So they have them sign it away, or things like that. So
Right, right.
keep all this in mind. So really, then, bottom line, what's it going to cost me? Bottom line, what's it gonna cost me? Okay, then athletically, how many players do you have on your roster? If I'm a small college player, medium college player, anywhere, how many kids do you have on your roster? How many? Why? Because if you're going to a program, it's like, and I talked to a parent like this, and here's how I posed it. Let's just say I'm in pro ball and I sign a free agent minor league contract my senior year of college, and I'm a shortstop. And I'm a pretty good shortstop. Maybe I have two tools. I'm non-drafted, which only 20 rounds today. Like, I mean, it isn't like when I was in college, there was, 55 rounds or whatever, and there was more than that. So guys were getting drafted like they were drafting crazy amounts of players. Well, now they're signing free agents, and players are complex players. They're staying at the complex. I mean, there's still players, even though they've cut back on some minor league teams. But how many shortstops are in front of me to get to the big leagues? So let's look at a college program. We've got 70 players. So how many shortstops do I have to beat out to get to the field?
That's right.
Switch positions, which is
How many are in
right.
front? Right.
How many are in front? So
Or what's your second position you could play?
what's your second position you could play? So, if you're going to baseball practice every day, and look, I've been a college head coach who was required to have a certain amount of players on my roster. Coaches, I feel your pain. I get it. What in the world are you going to do with 8 batting practice groups of 7 guys in a round?
Right.
Okay, fine. You have 70 players on your roster. Are you running 2 practices? Are you running a practice for just pitchers? Because that's going to take a lot of those 70 guys. It's going to take a good chunk out of there. But are you running 2 different practices? You can't just be hiding guys in the weeds and standing around. Nobody's getting better. So that's why I asked that. So how can I get on the field? And how are you going to develop me? If I'm a player and I go in somewhere, and if I'm a fringe guy and I'm like, look, I don't have a lot of options. Okay, 70 kids, like, I'm going to give it a shot. You have a JV or developmental team. If you
Right.
do, how many games do you play? If you play 30 games, 20, 30 ball games, you can, okay, it might be a good fit, right? A lot of those times you're playing JUCOs, and the JUCO's really good.
Yeah. I know JUCOs here in the South are huge.
Yeah,
It's almost like if you're going to be a Division I player, then you got your choices. If you're not Division I, it's a JUCO.
Yeah, absolutely. So then it's, player development wise, what do you do? Tell me about the weight room. Tell me about your individual drills. Tell me about your small group work. Do you have early work before practice? Are your position coaches bringing kids in to work on mechanics, to work on, let's just say that I'm a plus runner. Am I coming in and am I working with the hitting coach on bunting, right? Am I working on my jump leads at first base? That early work stuff before practice, some of the best development work you can do. Pre-practice or early, we typically just called it early work. Do we
Right.
do individual workouts, right? With the NCAA, in D2, you can only have, in D1, you can only have so many practices and all that stuff. But outside of that, you're able to do indies. Indies, this time of year is when guys grow. You're building swings, right? You're building swings, you're building mechanics, you're building arm strength. Your body's, I mean, you're hitting it hard. Speed and agility, weight training, all that stuff. So what are you doing? Where do I fit in your program? This is where have you talked to my coaches comes in, right?
How about another one too? You're recruiting me. Does that mean I have a roster spot?
Recruiting me, does that mean I have a roster spot?
Then if they, if it's one of those questions where, well, we'll see after workouts, then they're recruiting other people at that spot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some Division Ones that they can't offer a player a scholarship the first year, but they will give them a guaranteed walk-on roster spot.
Yeah.
Those types of things.
Those
But
types of things, yeah.
that's not a bad question to say. Look, you're recruiting me now. Do I have a roster spot?
And that was going to segue into once where do I fit in the program? Have you talked to my coach? Are you going to make me a scholarship offer? Now, a lot of times before you go to the visit, a coach has already made an offer. In a lot of situations,
Right.
you've already made an offer. So is there going to be some sort of scholarship offer? So I think those are really important. And I think that any coach who's going to be on a seat, here's the thing, guys and gals, here's the thing. Number one, I want everybody to understand this. Nobody owes you anything.
Correct.
Except for honesty. Your coach owes you one. Look, I'm a firm believer in this. And having coached my entire career, you get an opportunity every day in practice. At the college level, if you're not coming to practice, if you're not executing in practice, if you're not squaring up balls in batting practice, if you're not doing well in inner squads, probably not going to get a shot.
Right.
And I, over the years, players would be like, well, I never really got a shot. That's where you're wrong. You get a shot every single day. Let me go to the high school level.
It's what you can do with that shot. That's the key.
Right. That's right. Coach, I'm not a good practice player. Well, we're good enough coaches to figure out that you've got ability. That type of thing is few and far between.
Right.
And you go to the high school level, it's why am I not playing? Well, you took 4 batting practice rounds today and you made contact like 7 times. I mean, so the proof's in the pudding. So, but the game owes you nothing. Nobody owes you anything. But the one thing, your coach, you need to, when you go to a college program, the one thing you need to be comfortable with when you go there, other than that it's a good fit, is that coach is going to be honest with you. And I mean, I'm not talking about brutally honest with you. You're either honest or you're not.
Right.
You're either straightforward. And that goes to this college players right now, this time of year. You know what they're doing? If they're still in school, they're having individual exit meetings with their coaches. And those coaches are very direct. And those coaches, look, it's not personal, this. So, once again, the game owes you nothing. Nobody owes you anything. Except for, honestly, I truly believe that the one thing a coach owes his player, right? And we could go on and on and on about what a coach's job. But at the end of the day, the coach owes the player honesty. And when you leave there, your mom and dad, you or your guardian or whoever, you may even be on your own. You need to leave there and go, you know what? That male or female coach is a straight up human being, and I can play for that person. So
And that leads me to how we get our athletes to work with us, because we are brutally honest with them when we do that free evaluation.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing there. The other thing is, understand this: it's never too early to get involved with someone or a company like ours. Division I colleges right now, they're done with 25s. They're already in the 26s and headed for 27s.
Yep.
So, if you are a senior this year, there's limited spots at the big levels. You got other levels. Again, unless you're a diamond in the rough, they'll find you.
Yeah.
But it's just the nature of the beast. The transfer portal has changed everything, so that you want to get in as early as you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you would like more questions to take into an interview with a coach that you set up a visit for, just email us. Go to our website, drop us an email. We have tons and tons of information for you, and we will do our best, which at this point is 100%, to get you options of where to go. And if we're doing it at 100% and there's only 7% that will ever play the sport out of high school, I feel pretty confident or comfortable with what we do.
Well said, Coach Coons.
All right. We will see you next week. We'll have another topic for you, but check us out, aheadindaccountrecruiting.com. Go on there, or you can drop us an X message, a DM, or anything else. But again, there is no cost to free. You send us some tape, you send us some information, we will evaluate you and let you know where we think you are for free. There's no pressure calls, there's no hounding. After that, we wait for you to get back to us. We're not the hard sell. I know a lot of companies out there are. They'll hound you until they whip you into position to say yes to them. We're not that way. We want to work with you. We want to create lasting relationships. We want to see you succeed. Coach, any last words?
Give us a call. Let's set up a call. Shoot a message to us. Porter6@gmail.com. We'll set up a time to talk. DM us and let us help you out. This is what we do. This is who we are. What you see from us on here is what you get. We're going to work hard for you.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you spend a lot of time with your family and friends, and we'll see you next week.